To learn the good, the bad, and the reality of the off-grid lifestyle, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell notification. So I feel like I've made quite a bit of progress today on our tiny house. I'll try to do some explanation on what I've done today. Like I said yesterday, all this wood came off this trailer that we tore apart. And this trailer, we're gonna build our tiny house, 16 feet by 12 feet wide. Down there at the end to here is 16 and then 12 feet wide. I got to thinking, man, that would be a heck of a savings if I could figure out how to use it. Well, the walls I'm going to make out of 2x6s. And the floor, I was going to make out 2x4s. The reason I was going to make it out 2x4s, two reasons actually, is because the trailer already was made out of 2x4s. The floor was made out of 2x4s. Most trailers, mobile homes, are made out of 2x4. And what they did was they got a 12-foot board and they ran it all the way across. I, on the other hand, was not going to do that. I was only going to run it halfway across. So I built this huge beam all the way through the center of the trailer. So that's going to give me extra support on the 2x4s. So essentially the 2x4 only has to go from here to here, right? And then from here to here. So what's the maximum distance there? Maybe 3 feet at any given point. It's going to be a very strong floor for a 2x4. And the thing is I've made the center beam about as strong as you can make it. I've got two 2x6s slapped together. And then on top of it is a 2x4. And then on the side, I have another 2x4 on each side holding it all together. So, I mean, that thing's just massive. And then, of course, you got the steel beams running across holding that up. The other thing is these 2x4s here that I'm going to reuse are in bad shape on the ends. See, you can see here on the end, it's rotten. But in the center, they're not. They're very strong, sturdy. So these 12-foot boards here, I can't use all of 12 feet to run it all the way across. So I'm going to run it 6 feet, about half. Here is an example of what I'm going to do. Now this board isn't 6 feet long. Imagine this board comes all the way to here, okay? So it's just going to go to the center and it's going to tie in to that center board over to here. So essentially I just got half a board and then I'll do the other side as well. And I have enough boards, well, almost enough boards to do the whole thing. So I've got my ends done. I've got this end done. I did find a 12-foot board that was completely good. So since that was the end, I wanted to give it as much strength as possible. And so I ran that one all the way across from the wing here. See these wings right there? All the way to the other wing. And you can sit on this, and the trailer does more bouncing than the wood does. Once I tie it all in, I get the walls built up. You won't feel any bounce. This thing, I think, is going to be very sturdy. I'm very excited about it. And so that'll be our tiny house, 16 by 12 feet, which is 200 square feet. Now, I've only spent $36, and I should be able to get most of the floor built with the $36. I might have to buy a couple 2x4s. I might. And I'm going to have to buy some more screws because I've been using screws to screw it all together. So, you know, I might be up to $40 to have the entire floor completed without the plywood. And I was expecting this to cost, I don't know, almost $150. This is fantastic. I mean, this is the kind of savings that I'm really trying to do. It would be really neat if I could build the whole house for free. Of course, I'm not going to. You don't get my videos for 7 days after I record them. But yesterday, I made a video, and I was explaining all this, that I was going to use 2x4s. At the time of that video, I hadn't decided to use the lumber from the trailer. I was going to buy it. Two types of comments came out of that video. One, it's not big enough. They're suggesting that I make it 32 feet long. That'd be 400 square feet. That is a standard small house size. As a matter of fact, most codes require a 400 square feet house. Well, I'm not building a 400 square foot house. I don't want to build it that big. Because once you build it that big, then you start getting the attention of code enforcement. If I build it under 400 square feet, code enforcement won't even come out, and they'll probably just consider this a trailer. They're not going to consider it a house. Now, another question that has come up is, Rob, if you don't build it to code, you know, the 400 square feet, Carolyn won't be able to hook into power if something were to happen to me. Yeah, she can hook into power. There's nothing saying you can't have a power line running to an RV. Of course you can have power. I'll hook it all up. I'll run the line and everything from the power pole over here. And she'll be able to hire an electrician. He'll be able to come out, just disconnect the inverter from the house and run this line right into the breaker box. And I've done things like that before. You know, the power company comes out, they look to make sure that, you know, everything's legal on their aspect, so they'll be legal, you know, up to the pole there, and they'll come out, they'll hook it up. Now, the other thing is like I said, I've been trying to do this very cheap. And so if you want me to build out another 16 feet, I went from a $5,000 build, that's what this is going to be, a $5,000 build, to a $10,000 build. Doubled my costs. And people are just saying it like that's what I'm supposed to do. Rob, you need to spring for another 16 feet. I'm not springing for another 16 feet. That's not a spring. That's like a major financial burden. Here we are in an economic downturn, and I'm already losing contracts. A lot of people have lost their jobs. A lot of people are collecting unemployment. Stimulus packages are coming out. And we're still thinking big picture. Oh, just throw out another $5,000. You just can't do it anymore. I don't know when this economy is going to recover, but we have to assume that it's going to take a long time to recover. And I want to build a house. So I got to think smartly. And then the other thing you have to think about is the cost that it's going to take to heat and cool the house, maintain the house once it's built. If you add on double, then it's going to be double the cost. So if I want to heat it with wood, and I've already kind of calculated it out that if I want to heat it with wood heat, I got 1.5 acres here. I'm not going to have enough acreage to heat the whole house if I go double the acreage. I'll be able to heat this thing with a match if I do it right. But insulation is going to be key. I'm going to insulate the floor. I'm going to use 2x6s for the wall. Now that's where my biggest cost is going to come in at, is I'm kind of doing it backwards. Most people build the floor out of 2x6s or 2x8s and then the walls out of 2x4s. I'm doing just the opposite. I'm going to build this out of 2x4s. That's where the cost savings is, and it's structurally sound. I'm telling you, it's going to be solid, probably more solid than most houses. And then I'm going to build the walls out of 2x6s so I can get more insulation in there and really be able to just heat it with our body heat. I mean, in the camper, we can heat the camper pretty well with just our body heat down to about 40 degrees. It's very comfortable in there. If it's above 40 degrees, we don't even turn on the heater, and it can get pretty hot in there. Above 40 degrees if you don't turn the fan on or something like that. And then we're going to air condition with the solar panels. So we got to really think how we're going to save enough electricity to air condition the house with solar panels like we're doing with the camper. I've showed you videos where we're air conditioning with a little 5,000 BTU air conditioner running it off solar panels. Well, we're going to do that with this also. So we got to keep thinking small so we can live off grid. Another suggestion was, of course, you know, they wanted me to build the floor with 2x6s. And a lot of different prices were being thrown out. $20, I mean, the huge cost increase. And so there again, we're increasing cost, and for little gain. I don't think there's that much gain out of the amount of money you had to put into it. The thing is now I can do it for free. So it's a huge difference. So this process is going to go a little bit slower because I'm using this scrap wood. You saw at the beginning of the video, I was having to pull staples out. It takes me about 20 minutes to pull these staples out of the board before I can cut it. This is working out fantastic. And I really hope I can encourage everybody to start looking at cost savings. How can I build a house in a budget that I can afford without having to get a loan? Thanks for watching.